の鼓動が消えかかるそれがオレンジャー熱い血流れる鋼のマシン
Welcome to the Super Sentai Brothers. This is episode 42 of For Your Eyes Ohranger, the internet's best and only podcast dedicated to Chouriki Sentai Ohranger. Every week we watch an episode of the show and we share our thoughts with you, the listener. My name is Matt J, and with me as always is my co-host and brother Dave. Dave, how you doing today?
I'm good, man. Good.
Nice.
Had a nice shower, drank a beer. Yeah, well, Beth, did I mention this already? I know I mentioned it to you. I don't know if I mentioned it on the show. Beth took the twins out of town for the weekend to go up to New Jersey to spend some time with our future sister-in-law. And so I am alone in the house.
You batching it?
Yeah, it's very
terrible
weird.
Phrase, but
it is kind of a terrible phrase. Yeah, it is very weird. It's like to say like, "Oh, I'm really digging it." Is I don't want to say that because that makes it sound like, "Oh, I just can't wait for my wife and kids to leave," which is not the case. Like it's pleasant in its way, but it is also sort of discomforting.
yeah, no,
Like
I
it's
get it.
it's kind of surreal, I think is what I'm trying to say. So when we're done with this, I am going to have a wild and crazy night of trying to get a leg up on this housework.
Nice.
We get some laundry folded. I'm going to get the kitchen clean. It's going to get buck wild in here, man.
Well, you, Dave, like Steve Martin before, you are a wild and crazy guy. But Dave, before you do that, and before we talk about episode 42 of Chouriki Sentai Ohranger called The Squadron's Public Execution, we have our 5 stars to go through. Dave, of course, as always, shining in the heavens, there are 5 stars. Would you like to know what the first star of the week is?
Yes, yeah, well, yeah, that's what we do. That is the thing. Please tell me what it is.
I'd be delighted to share it with you, Dave. So I had another work trip this past week. I don't actually travel that much for work, but it usually all happens in late September, early October, because that's when like the conferences I have to go to are. Mm-hmm. So I have been out of town for like most of the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit because you were down in Nashville, and so where in the world was Matt? The song doesn't work if you don't have enough syllables in your name. Where were you?
I was in...
The song, of course, is Where in the World is Carmen
Sandiego.
In case you are younger than 32.
Yeah. Check it out. Go down a weird rockapella YouTube like hole. That'll
This is an amazing thing, Matt. This, I think, we could check the sheet. I think this is the third time rockapella has come up in the 5 stars.
David got strong feelings about rockapella, but this week
Anyways.
I was in beautiful Sandusky, Ohio, because it's up by the lake. It's small, it's quaint, it's fine. I wouldn't go there for a vacation, but I happened to be going there for work, and actually, I wasn't even really in Sandusky proper, because I was staying at the Kalahari indoor water park and resort / convention center. And Dave, have you?
Well, that's a fun tagline.
Yeah. So, have you ever been to, or how much do you know about Kalahari?
I know that it is an indoor water park.
Yes.
I know that there are 4 Kalaharis, and there's a 5th one is being built.
Good for them.
Yeah.
But you've never been to one.
I have not. Also, Matt, there was a subtle geography joke in there.
Oh, was there?
Yeah.
I have to admit, Dave, that I missed it. Geography's never been my strongest suit.
Well, I let you know that it was there.
Well, so listeners,
when you puzzle it out, you'll laugh.
Listeners, if you want to hit that 15 seconds back button a few times, maybe you will catch this very subtle joke. Anyway, so
that's how I like it's a slow burn kind of comedy, Matt. Anyways, how was this indoor water park and convention center?
Well, the convention center was
indoor
fine.
water park resort and convention center, right? I don't want to leave anything out.
Yeah, I believe it's all of those things. It was fine. The actual, the hotel.
a ringing endorsement from Matt J of the Super Sentai Brothers.
Yeah.
It was fine.
Matt J gives it a solid B. No, it was fun. It's not I think it would have been more fun if I went with people I knew and was not just there at a convention.
Right, if you went to have fun, it would have been more fun.
Right, but
I got you.
But the nice thing is, since it was a work thing, like work sent me out there, and where it was paying for my stay, and so I was like, okay, I'm here at this thing, like I've been working all day, like standing around this convention floor, like I need to enjoy some of these good water slides. Like it would be silly for me not to. So at 7:30 p.m., because the water park closes at 9. Because it's all indoor, right? Like, so it doesn't matter what time the sun goes down. So at 7:30 p.m., I just like roll into this, like, when I say it's an indoor water park, I mean it's not just a big room with slides. Like there are little like fun play areas, and there's it looks like a pool, and then I discovered that it was a wave pool.
Do love a wave pool for reasons I don't fully understand. There's a big wave and it's fun, but you wait a long time. I don't know. I love wave pools. Don't get me wrong. They're just a little funky. Anyways, please continue.
They are.
I'm a little fuzzy, Matt. I did go to a LARP event this weekend, and so I'm still kind of riding that very little sleep train. Anyways, go ahead.
It was the bad kind of wave pool. There are two kinds of wave pool, of course. There's the one with one giant wave, and then there's the one with a bunch of like mid-sized waves. This was the one with a bunch of mid-sized waves.
Not as good.
The one giant wave is really the best sort of wave pool. Anyway,
yeah, absolutely.
All of this is to say, like, man, water slides, like it has been a very long time since I went on like a water park style water slide. Because, I mean, I just don't go to water parks anymore. I used to go when I was a kid. I've not really had occasion to go in the last number of years. And I remember when I was a kid, I would get sort of nervous about the rides. Like, not super nervous, but, there was a degree of trepidation. And I think that
you are in a like, I'm sure they're carefully engineered, obviously.
Yeah.
But you are high up going very quickly in, like, a not enclosed space.
Oh, well, I exclusively was going in the ones that were, like, in tubes.
Oh, okay. Well, those are definitely better, but please.
And I think that a lot of the fear comes down to the fact that, like, you were in a line for a long time, so there's anticipation. But when you go to an indoor water park on a Thursday at 7 p.m., there are not lines. You
could just roll.
Right, you just roll up, and, like, there's a guy standing there. It's like, I would like to get on this slide. And he's like, yeah, of course, just get on the slide. And I just, I just hop on the slide and tumble down for a while into a big pool at the bottom. And it was great.
For a second, when you said you were going to go to the water park, which you're like, I went to the water park. I was thinking, so at 7 p.m. on a Thursday, you were a 34-year-old man alone at a water park.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's a way in which that is sad, sure.
Yeah, no, listen, it's not. Okay, when I said those words, that was the joke I was going to make, and then I was like, that sounds a little sad, and so I'm not going to make that joke. And the only reason I said it is because it is not, in fact, sad, because here's the deal. The words sound sad because you're like, oh, you're alone at a water park. Water parks aren't a group activity unless you're on like a 2-man slide.
Yeah.
All that happens is you're waiting in line with someone else, and then you each go down the slide alone.
Right.
But if there's no line, a companion is not necessary at a water park.
Right. It's just you and the slides. There was one where like you go to, as I was getting in it, the person was like, oh, hey, by the way, real quick, before you go down the slide, are you a strong swimmer? And I was like, well, that's a weird question, but yeah, sure. And so I hop in, and the way this slide works, and I had kind
Not
of
as strong
seen
as I used to be, but sure.
Sure. I go to the Y occasionally. So I saw this from the outside, and I was trying to sort of figure out how it works. And apparently what happens is you go down a slide into what is essentially like a toilet, like a rainbow-colored toilet bowl, and you just circle, like you just hit this thing at an angle, and you circle around it a few times, and then you just drop out the hole in the middle and fall into a pool that is underneath.
How big is the fall?
Oh, the fall's only like 3-4 feet.
Oh, okay. That still sounds like a very good water slide, actually.
It was extremely good. But as soon as I dropped like 3 feet into a pool, where there was like a waterfall on top of me of all the water that was coming out of the slide. I was like, oh, right. Yeah, you would have to be a good swimmer for this.
Yeah, you would want to know that ahead of time.
Anyway, so I did a couple of water slides, and then I kind of looked at my watch. I was like, well, I'm not just going to like keep doing the same water slides. And I can't go on the lazy river because it was closed for repairs, which was heartbreaking. But
it's a bummer. Love a lazy river.
I did find that in the water park, there was a hot tub bar area.
Yes.
Like a little swim
there
up hot tub
definitely
bar.
Is.
That has
we
like
have some friends that go. It's like their favorite part.
And let me tell you, when I heard other people say like, oh yeah, the hot tub bar, that's really cool. I thought, boy, you are lame. I mean, not actually. These are dear friends of mine who I don't think are lame. But, like, that did not seem like my idea of a cool time.
Mm-hmm.
And then
you were wrong.
And then I got in the hot tub and I ordered like a fruity drink, and I sat there in like the warm water drinking the cool drink, and I went outside into the outside part of the hot tub and just like chilled for a while. And I will tell you what, that is maybe the best time you can have. Just like sitting alone outside at night in a hot tub with a cool like drink at a place where like you otherwise have been sort of like stressed and tired all day. Like not a lot is going to beat that, I think. Anyway, we have been talking about these water slides and surrounding things for a while. Dave, what is our second star of the week?
So our second star of the week, man, is like I said, I just got back from this LARP event, which it was a weird coincidence how I was able to go, but basically, because of the way my vacation works, I couldn't go with Beth to the thing where she has the twins, and there also happened to be a LARP event that I could go to, so I went to a LARP event. And I went to the whole thing, which I haven't done in ages because I have small babies. It was rad. It was super, super great. Like, it was fun to be able to kind of go for the whole arc of the weekend. Mm-hmm. You know, because, like, there's larger plot lines, but there's also stuff that, like, hey, it's kind of starting this weekend and ending this weekend. So it was fun to be there for the whole part of that. And I got to play with our friend Jen. I got to play with her, and we don't really get to... We're usually on, like, opposite sides. Either, like, one of us is running and the other one is playing or vice versa. Mm-hmm. And so we got to, like, go and play together. It was tons and tons of fun. And it was a really cool example for me of all of the things that are best about, like, role-playing games and LARPing and kind of collaborative storytelling in general, which is... Like, we all kind of showed up with our own stuff. You know, like, my character has my stuff, and, like, other people's character have their own stuff. And then, like, you know, the people who are running the game have a story that they're telling. And you just don't know how those things are going to interact until they, like, all get thrown in the mix together. And then you're like, oh, actually, in a way that I would never have thought about, like, your thing kind of lines up with this other thing. And, like, now we have this really cool story moment that is significant for both of us. I'm trying to talk about this in a way that does not involve, like, a detailed description of my LARP character.
Yeah, okay, so this is the tricky thing about talking about like LARP or anything where you have a character, like talking about your D&D characters or whatever.
Right, like, is anything worse?
Because like you spent 2 days having like a really fun experience that was like immersive and cool, and like you were just living in it for 2 days. But like other people weren't there and they don't know the backstory of your character, and it's just It's so hard to make someone care. Like you can make them care about like the general, yes, I did this thing and have fun, but trying to get someone to the point where they are interested in like actually what you did that requires a level of storytelling that I cannot do.
Yeah, like dude, nobody wants to hear the 11-year backstory of this character.
So have you really been playing that character for 11 years?
Actually, slightly longer than that.
Good grief.
Yeah, I think this is my 13th. Is that right? Yeah, I think this is the 13th year I've been playing, and I've spent the whole time doing one character. But But yeah, like
is
it was
awesome.
totally. It's actually, dude. I'm not going to do it on air, but my LARP character is very cool and fun. I mean, as cool as a LARP character, I think that's the best way to say it. To say he's very cool, this is in the context of LARP. None of it is that cool, but I do have a blast playing him, and that is cool because it's cool to enjoy the things that you enjoy.
That is 100% true.
Crush it, 2018. Matt, what is our third star of the week?
Dave, our third star of the week is a book that was written, I think, just for me, and I got it, and I'm very happy about it. It is called How to Invent Everything, a Survival Guide for the Stranded Time Traveler.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, that would appeal to both your well-documented love of inventing and time travel?
No, Dave, the thing that is very specific is that it really deals well with my long-seated fear of being stranded in the past due to uncontrollable time travel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think everybody has to come to grips with that fear at some point in their life.
Hey, listen, I'm
not lying. That was I'm not joking about that.
when we were growing up,
I know this is a comedy podcast, but that's a very serious. You just have to deal with that.
We had a collection of sci-fi short stories growing up, and one of the stories was called "The Man Who Came Early," and it was about
about that very specific thing.
Yeah, like this guy who's like an American soldier stationed in Norway gets like zapped with lightning and sent back to Viking times. And it's just him trying to get by with his modern skills that don't apply to anything in the past. And when you read that, when you read that story 100 times when you were in a formative age, like that thought really sticks in your head. And also, I have in the past thought, man, what if there was a terrible catastrophe worldwide and the only knowledge in the world that remained were the books that I personally owned? I should make sure that I buy enough stuff that we could approximate a recreation of Western civilization.
Oh, yeah, I think everybody considers those parameters when they're building a personal library.
I don't know if you're joking, Dave, and I feel like a little
I
attacked.
100% am not, actually.
Anyway, so this book is it's written by Ryan North, the guy who does dinosaur comics. I mean, he also does a bunch of Marvel comics now, and is very funny. So it is a very funny book that addresses both a weird thought I have a lot and a totally irrational phobia that I've had for years. So I am very glad to have it.
No, that sounds like a very cool book, and I would like to buy a copy of it.
I'm sure you can. I'm sure it will. I get it from Kickstarter, but I'm sure it will be available from major retailers coming soon. Dave, I got another star for you. Would you like to hear it? It's the fourth one.
I sure would.
This is a short one, which is good because we talked about water slides a lot. This is actually something else that I did while at Kalahari, which was sit around the TV and watch Hotel Cable. And I have an update for you on the Forged in Fire cinematic universe. I have now seen an episode of Forged in Fire, Knife or Death.
Nice. How did it go?
Okay, so here's the great thing about Forged in Fire, Knife or Death, hosted by Bill Goldberg. Is that the way that you become a contestant on Forged in Fire, Knife or Death is that you win the regular Forged in Fire show, right? So you have made a great sword, and you made a great sword.
I did not. You may have mentioned that, but I did not remember it until just this moment, and that's fantastic.
I don't think I mentioned it last week because I'm not sure that I knew it because I had only seen the commercials
okay.
for it.
Well, that's even... Okay, then sure. That's incredible, and I did not know it, and I'm very, very glad that I do now.
Okay, so here's what is so great about that. They don't bring the sword that they won with, right? They make a sword specifically for these series of challenges.
Okay.
And so different people have different swords.
You've got different sword parameters.
Definitely. Some people roll in and they've made a short chopping machete thing. Some people come in with a big slashing saber sort of thing. Everyone comes in with a weapon that they think will do well in the challenges, insofar as they understand what the challenges are going to be. And then they have to go.
But there's always a surprise challenge.
I mean, maybe there is. I don't know. I don't know how much explanation they get as to what the challenges are before they show up. So they go through, and as I was saying last week, they have to do a series of challenges where there's a row of pineapples, and they have to in one swipe cut all of the
How many
pineapples in half.
pineapples? Right. Uh-huh.
And if they miss any of the pineapples, it's a penalty. And then later they've got to like,
Eat the pineapples.
all 6 pineapples, eat them all. No,
Your mouth would bleed. That you can't eat that much pineapple.
yeah, you can try. Lord knows I've tried. But there's bits like, okay, we're gonna attach a fish to
Matt,
a rope,
sorry,
and we're gonna
just
swing
real
it to
quickly.
you. What's up?
That is just real quickly, Matt. I'm sorry. I definitely want to hear about this very good knife show. I just don't want to gloss over the fact that you just claimed that you at one point attempted to eat 6 pineapples.
Okay, that's an exaggeration. I did attempt to eat 1 pineapple. I mean, it wasn't like an attempt so much as...
That's still a lot.
Like, I really like pineapple, and I cut a pineapple up, and I put it all in a bowl, and I just ate it until I couldn't eat pineapple anymore.
Anyways, just how much did you get through?
I mean, it was a pretty good percentage of the
Pretty
pineapple.
substantial amount of pineapple.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so please tell me. So
yeah,
you got to do. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they're like, okay, we're gonna attach this fish to a rope, and we're gonna swing it at you, and you gotta cut the fish in half, and if you don't cut it all the way in half, you fail.
Fish?
Oh,
Okay.
there's a chicken, a fish, and then a rack of ribs. Anyway, what's great about this is that since the contestants are just people who won the original Forged in Fire game or show, those people aren't, they're knife makers, but they are not knife users necessarily.
I feel like this should be a team competition where you have one guy who makes it and another guy who uses it, because those are very, very different skill sets.
Yeah. So one guy rolls in and he's got to chop through this huge block of ice to get to this tube of colored water inside to break that open. And he's just hacking away at this ice. But he's like a middle-aged guy who's not in great shape. And about halfway through, he has to stop and catch his breath because he's about to pass out.
Oh, jeez, man, that's not cool.
And then there's another bit where they're just rolling foam balls down a ramp to them, and they have to try to cut them in half as they roll by. But these people are not precision knife users, so they're just swinging away at these things.
Swinging wildly.
Just missing every single one of them. It's very good, because sometimes they manage to do the thing very well, and the knives that they have made and brought in are very impressive.
Yeah.
But it's just sitting there watching Bill Goldberg talk about how bad everyone is at this thing, when clearly that is not their main job. They're just here for a TV show thing. And they're all wearing special knife armor to stop themselves from accidentally hurting themselves.
See, this is an illustration. This is a real life illustration of why in role playing games there's level restrictions on some equipment. It's you're just not good enough. You don't need this. That's a level 50 sword, and you're a level 1 fighter. You can't.
Right, you're a level 1 fighter, but you're a level 12 bladesmith.
Right, you're a very, very
you
good
made a
bladesmith.
great sword. You just have no idea what to do with it.
Yeah, your base attack bonus is nothing. Bladesmiths don't get that.
Anyway, very good show. Do recommend.
Anyway, so Matt, what is our 5th star of the week?
Dave, 5th star of the week is a sort of a follow-up on a conversation we'd been having earlier. About the names of the Baranoia Empire leaders.
Okay.
And remember how you had said that Princess, now Empress Multiwa, has a name that was sort of a dog pun, but we couldn't remember what it was?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because she's with Prince Bulldont, and he's obviously a bulldog.
Yeah, so they're one of our Twitter followers, Harker, who's at Ahoy I'm Harker, wrote in,
hi, Harker.
And he was like, hey, this is the list of what the things are. So it's not just those two. Apparently Bacchus Wrath and Hysteria are also kind of sideways slant rhyme dog puns, where Bacchus Wrath is
what?
Bacchus Wrath is a dachshund. Hysteria is a terrier, Bulldont is a bulldog, and Multiwa is a Maltese, which I really love, because it kind of highlights something that is it's such a thing in Sentai, where it's oh yeah, the main thing about these people is that they're evil robots from space, and they've come to Earth to take it over, and they've got a whole machine empire, etc. Also, a secondary grace note on that is that they are kind of dog themed if you look at them sideways.
It's just
in a way that is totally
wild.
In a way that is totally irrelevant to their characters and never discussed.
Yeah, it's just like it's nothing. When we started talking about this, I looked up Empress Hysteria, and apparently, because she doesn't look like a dog at
Not
all.
even a little.
Prince Bulldont kind of looked like a dog.
Yeah,
right.
Although now that he's Kaiser Bulldont, he absolutely does not.
He does not at all, and Princess Moldua does not at all, and neither did Emperor Bacchus Wrath. Okay, so here is the only, because they never give us the backstory. Here's my headcanon on this, Matt. Emperor Bacchus Wrath, they say he was he's like a robot servant that from 600 million years ago that escaped and now is the emperor of the Baranoia Empire. Mm-hmm. They never say what his what he did, right? Like, they never say what his purpose is. Was he like what kind of bot was he? So having clearly demonstrated that Emperor Bacchus Wrath could detach his AI and do weird stuff with his own body, new headcanon, Bacchus Wrath started out his existence as like a robo-dog. He was a robo-dog, like a puppy pal. Okay.
He was one of those Sony things,
Yeah, I was trying real hard to remember the name, and so I just went with Puppy Pal. I got nothing.
Puppy Pal works.
Yeah, so he was a Robo Puppy Pal, and it was awful, and so he escaped, and now he's back to destroy Earth.
It is called the AIBO, AIBO.
Cool commercial for that defunct toy line. Yeah, so that's what I'm going with. That's how Bacchus Wrath started, and now he's back to destroy Earth 600 million years later.
Now here we have to confront something, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Is Bacchus Wrath a good boy, as all dogs are? Or, having, moved on from his doggy roots, has he abandoned his good boy status?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that when you create a star-spanning empire bent on domination, and also you've abandoned your robo-dog body, that I think you're out. You're out of the... you don't have enough check marks in the dog box anymore.
Right.
Now you've got a lot of check marks in, the evil space robot emperor box. That kind of tips the balance on that one.
All right. Well, I'm glad we've solved that puzzle. Dave, now having done that, we are going to take a break. We are going to watch episode 42 of Chouriki Sentai Ohranger, the Squadron's Public Execution. It was written by Hirohisa Soda. You can watch it on the DVDs, or it's streaming on shoutfactory.tv. This is a good episode, and you should watch it. We will be right back. Okay, welcome back. We just watched episode 42 of Chouriki Sentai Ohranger. Maybe you did too. Now it's time to talk about it. Dave, let us discuss this very good TV show.
Dude, this episode is buck wild.
There's a lot of stuff that comes out of complete left field in this one.
Yeah, okay. So, the episode starts at night. It's a car driving through the misty woods at night. And there is... they see a basket, and they hear, and it's hanging in a tree.
It's not up in the branches of the tree. It is suspended from the tree by a rope. It's just hanging in the middle of this misty forest.
Yeah, and there it is. There's a baby crying sound, which, okay, listen, that's a very difficult position to be in, I think, as a person encountering that. Because if there's a basket in a tree and you hear a crying baby, you're like 80-20 on being cursed in that situation.
Right. It is a curse or a trap of some sort, almost assuredly. But
there is a very small, probably not even 80-20, but there is a very small possibility that it is actually a baby.
Yeah.
And you can't leave babies in a tree. That's very unsafe for them.
It's not where babies go.
Yeah, so...
I mean, I'm not a parent, but,
Right. Well, you're a very good uncle. I think you've managed to put that one together. So that's a real puzzler of a situation. But not for the Rangers.
Yeah, so
they knew exactly what to do.
The O'Rangers,
although they lost the dice roll on that one. It definitely is a curse/trap.
Yeah, so they roll up. They are just in this forest. They find the baby basket.
Oh no, Matt, sorry. Maybe you were like looking down at your notes or something. They did give us
Yeah, they have received some mysterious information.
Right. But listen, I want to say Ohranger has not been my favorite season that we've watched. I've dug it, but it's no Jetman. Like, let's be real.
Right.
But what they have done and stood, I think, head and shoulders above every single other season that we've watched is giving us those 5-second, like, not even lines, like those little throwaway lines that explain why in the world are you in the woods looking for a baby in a basket in the middle of the night. They're like, good thing we came out to investigate that weird tip that someone sent us. That's all I need.
Yeah.
That's it. Now we understand why the heck you're out there. So as they are running over to this basket, we see kind of hidden in the shadows, there's a Bara soldier with a video camera.
Is it a Bara soldier? I thought it was Acha and Kocha.
No, Matt, it's not Acha and Kocha. You know how I know it's not Acha and Kocha? Because they're back in the TV control van.
Oh, that's right. They're broadcast Winnebago.
Yeah. Right, because they are recording and broadcasting this for, I don't know, man, Baranoia TV? For BTV?
Well, they do say that this will make for a great space broadcast.
Yeah, actually, I think it would be Baranoia Entertainment. I think it's BET. It's Baranoia Entertainment.
Okay, I think that's taken. But they're also broadcasting it on Earth. So, like, the same way that they always broadcast their threats, they are broadcasting this because they want to show what's going to happen to the O-Rangers, which is not great for the O-Rangers. Because in this baby basket is a baby doll, which is a nice note, but completely unnecessary. And also there is a bomb, like a time bomb. There is ticking. Goro tells everyone to get back. They get kind of caught in the bomb blast, and then they are attacked.
Yeah. So and it's not like Baranoia soldiers show up. Buldo just goes to 10 immediately. It's him and Princess Empress, Kaiser Bolden and Empress Multiwall. They do not send Baranoia soldiers. Like, they are just there. And it's actually it's pretty much game over from the get-go.
Right.
Between the two of them, the Rangers do not actually put up pretty much any fight at all.
Right, well, because they were ambushed quickly enough that they have not had a chance to transform into their O-Ranger costumes. So, like, they're just going at it, like, in their regular human forms, which are good, but not as good.
Yeah.
Now, for some reason, and this is weird, because we don't see her often, but Doran is there. Remember Doran? Like the little girl from 600 million years in the past who came forward with Ricky, who we see like once every 6 episodes?
Yeah, she's just in the woods?
Yeah.
But, like, she didn't get out of the... She doesn't appear to have, like, already be there with the Rangers. She just kind of seems like she's there.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think... But Ricky isn't there, which makes no sense, because that dude, he's always there. The only thing I can think of is that Doran was like, I love nature, and I need to get me some nighttime nature, because it's, like, all different animals. And Ricky says, let's not do that. And then she waits till he goes to sleep or something, and then she goes out and gets that nighttime nature.
Okay, take it
in
the
the
night air. I
exact
can
same
get it.
place. Yeah, in the exact same place where all of this other thing is happening.
Hey, listen, Dave, they already explained why the O-Rangers are there. They can't also give us an explanation as to why Doran is there.
It's just,
that's
it
asking
would be too much. Is that, like, whatever she was there for, it's not this. And this is a very concerning situation. And she is a little girl. So she's hiding in the woods. But doesn't actually super work out for her.
Let this be a lesson to you. Don't hide in the woods at night next to a monster fight.
Yeah, well, because you know what's around monster fights?
More monsters.
Yeah, monsters are there. So we see this week's monster, and it is Bara Hunter.
And Bara Hunter.
Let me tell you how into Bara Hunter I am. Yeah, this guy is awesome. He's like he's like a cyber ninja.
Yeah,
but there's kind of something else there.
We looked up the the concept art for him, and he kind of looks like a cross between Cyber Ninja from Metal Gear Solid, with kind of like a pseudo Evangelion like tone to him, then translated into a Sentai like monster. Yeah,
he's very, very cool. We are very into Bara Hunter. So he kind of does like a jumpy. He has like some like invisibility powers or something maybe, but he's also very agile. He like leaps down from this tree.
Yeah,
and he's got like a forearm knife. Yeah, he's got like a crazy forearm knife, and he like gets up on her, and he's like, "If you scream, like I'll kill you," or something like that. And then he sort of pushes her to the side, and he bends over, and he's got like a it's like an energy blaster, but like on his back, but it is of sufficient size that he has to like kind of bend over and become like a firing platform for this thing.
Yeah. And so he zaps the Rangers but good.
Yeah.
And like that is the end of this fight.
Yeah, we get a cool moment where we see the chief and he is getting like readouts on the Rangers, and they're like flashing, and then they all kind of go to like, incommunicado or whatever. But I do really like the idea that while the fights are happening, the chief is back in the base getting like live telemetry readouts on like everything that's going on with the Rangers and their like status. I think that was a cool little touch.
Yeah. Now, as the Rangers are captured, like in the course of this explosion, all of them drop their power bracers. And they're all just like in a heap.
There's like which is, explosions not known for neatly collecting things in a heap.
Hey, yeah, whatever. Anyway, Doran finds them and sort of like rescues them. The power bracers, not the O'Rangers. They are
not the
lost
Rangers,
and screwed.
They are very gone. So we flip to the next morning. We are in a quarry, and the Rangers are chained up like with their hands above their heads, kind of medieval style.
Mm-hmm. Well, not all of them are.
Yeah. So somehow they just say it's Empress Multiwa and Kaiser Bulldown, and they say it's ready for a show of cruelty. We're going to have a public execution as soon as we find O-Red. And then you kind of see, and Goro's not there.
Yeah, which is strange.
But like he got blown up with everybody else.
He was with them all. I don't know. He's very strong and very resourceful. Goro just got away somehow.
Yeah, so Goro gets away, and they're like, we kind of want to do the whole set all at once. So
right, because then what are you
going to
do? You're going to do it, like, kill all four of them and then have, like, a follow-up execution with just the one guy?
Yeah, that's just lazy television.
Yeah.
So they're like, listen, we're going to go get Goro. You guys chill here, and then we'll be back, and we'll kill you all. So that's the plan.
Yeah, so Chief sees this broadcast from the headquarters, and as he does, Doran walks in and says, like, oh my gosh, Chief, I'm so sorry. She doesn't call him Chief. He's not her chief. She says, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like, he told me not to cry out, and I didn't, and I could have warned them, and instead they all got captured, and she's crying. And the chief is like, dude, like, this is not on you. Like, yeah, even a little bit.
We are you're a very small child. It's fine.
And also, Goro is still out there. And, like, he is free, and I'm sure he's going to be doing his best.
Yeah, Goro will save the day. So, the next thing we see is O-Red. And that was kind of a portmanteau there.
A poor man's toe?
Hey, so we see Goro, and he and Bara Hunter are playing a game.
It's a bad game. I mean, it's a bad game for Goro.
It's it's maybe the most dangerous game. So,
yeah, Goro is being hunted by Bara Hunter. I mean, I guess that makes sense. And Bara Hunter, as I sort of briefly alluded to earlier, has like predator stuff. Like he can see like heat signatures of people hiding in the tall grass. And so Goro keeps trying to hide, but he can't because like Barra Hunter is specifically designed to track him down. They're in this cool like river bed with like short waterfalls and like little islands in the middle of the river with tall grass on either side. It's a great place to stage this kind of thing.
Yeah, so like they're fighting up on top of this little dam, and then they both kind of like knock each other over, and they fall into the water, and they kind of get up, and they're running around, and Barra Hunter's chasing. Yeah, it's really, really good. So Goro does manage to get away.
Well, kind of.
Almost. So he gets away, and then we find out that Barra Hunter, as if he wasn't cool enough, also has like a crazy techno attack boomerang.
Yes, he does. It's so good.
Let me tell you, I don't think we've ever discussed this, Matt. I have a real love, I don't know why, of like fantasy attack boomerangs. Mm-hmm. I think maybe I love them because of all the fantasy weapons, they're maybe the most impossible.
Sure.
Like the idea of a weapon that you could throw that would like hit someone badly enough to hurt them, but then also would return to you somehow. I don't like... It's so insane. It really tickles me.
Man, you've got to play Breath of the Wild. That is or can be at least, a boomerang-heavy game.
Well, it's a Legend of Zelda game. They're good about boomerangs.
Oh yeah, but dude, the boomerangs in Breath of the Wild are extremely good.
Oh really?
They are melee weapons.
What?
Like they're like curved or like angled melee weapons that you use as swords, but you can also throw them.
That does sound very, very good.
And you also have to pay attention because, like, you throw them and they will come back, but if you don't hit, like, the button to catch it, like, it'll just smack you in the head.
Oh, that does sound super cool. So anyway, sorry, we could talk about my love of boomerangs later. So, Doran now is running through the woods again. Doran, stop it. This went super poorly last time. But it actually does kind of make sense as to why she's out there. So she's out there, and then like a bird chirps at her as it's like flying by, and she's like, "Oh, thanks for telling me about Goro." And then we go back to Goro.
Goro has at this point been confronted by Barra Hunter, Kaiser Buldont, and Empress Multiwa. Has gotten sort of like roughed up by the three of them, but has managed to kind of not like escape because they're still on his tail, but like he is not currently being murdered, which is great.
Yeah, so he's like they're surrounding him. He's cornered though. Like, yeah, I think they're just sort of waiting for their moment. And as they're about to attack, Doran sort of throws herself across the whole river because he's like on an island or something, and she's somehow in front of him. So she's in front of him, and she says, "No, you can't. Please stop. Like, you can't attack him." I don't know why she thinks this will work, because they're here to kill everyone on the planet. So
I mean, Doran has a heart of peace, and I guess she just feels like if she like expresses that heart enough, other people will go along with it.
Yeah, it does not work.
No, not even a little, but it's a nice thought.
Yeah, these are murder robots.
Yeah, from space.
Doran, they don't care about your beautiful heart.
But
I guess they care about your beautiful heart in the sense that, like, they'd maybe like to separate it from you. I don't know.
But you know who does care about her beautiful heart is Ricky.
Yes. So
Doran is protecting Goro, and then she's about to get shot. So Ricky appears to protect Doran.
Yeah. So he takes, like, they do kind of like a blast or something, and he does take a hit. Doran is saved, and then Goro, like, without even being henshined or anything, just straight up tackles Barra Hunter. It was a really good, like, it was very quick, but I really dug it as a moment for Goro.
Yeah.
Because it's just, whenever they attack the monster in like desperate situations and when they're not or can't be henshined, it's just a really great hero moment.
It really is. Like, that was one of my favorite moments of Die Ranger, that one episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he just like straight up like body slam. Well, he doesn't body slam him, but he tackles him. And and
he says, like, listen, Doran, get yourself and Ricky out of here. He's injured. You're vulnerable. Like, I will hold these guys off for you so you can escape.
Yeah, so actually it is Ricky. Ricky summons King Pyramider, and then they sort of like teleport out using King Pyramider's like teleport beam, I guess.
Sure, man.
Yeah, so they teleport out, but Ricky collapses as soon as they get in there. Like, he was barely holding on as it is, and now he's out.
Right.
Doran, obviously, totally distraught.
Yeah, because now she feels like not only has she gotten the Ohrangers captured, she's also gotten Ricky hurt, and they're kind of running out of heroes to keep this whole thing running.
Yeah. So she sort of shakes herself off, she looks up, and she says, "Oh, I know what I have to do. It's the only choice now." And she starts running through King Pyramider, and we get a sense for kind of the scope of King Pyramider.
Yeah, I really like whenever we see the interior of this thing, because she's just running down like weird floating like walkways in rooms full of like glowing lights and panels that are sort of like abstracted around her, and like running up multiple staircases. Like, this thing is massive.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's the size of a pyramid. Like, it's very, very large, but I don't know why, like, in my head, well, I think partly because you see it when it transforms for, like, battle formation, and there's enough empty space in there to get a whole other giant robot.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I was assuming that a lot of it was, like, and we don't see a ton of it, obviously, but that a lot of it was kind of empty space and machinery, but it just turns out that no, there actually is like a whole bunch of like weird, crazy 600 million year old technology there. So she's running through, and when she gets to is like a secret demon snake door. Like, it's not secret; she knows where it is, but it's like a big door.
It is the forbidden door.
It's the forbidden door, and it's got a demon snake face on it.
Yeah,
it's not. That's just kind of. It isn't like a label or anything. I'm just sort of trying to mash up some ideas to let you know what this thing looks like.
Yeah, so at this point, Ricky has sort of like come to, and he realizes where she must have gone to. So he follows her and says like, "Oh my gosh, Doran, please, you cannot open the forbidden door, for behind that lies the forbidden power, which cannot be used, ever."
Ever. You would not use the forbidden power. So they're at this door, and Ricky is like, "No, you can never use the forbidden power." And she says, "No, we have to. It's our only choice now." Which, let me be real, I'm pretty sure I've played through that storyline at some LARP event or another.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. So she's like, "No, we can't use the forbidden power. We have to use the forbidden power." It's all, anyways. So now we get a little more explanation though as to what is going through Doran's head, and also I think maybe why she was out in the woods earlier, like actively looking for Goro. What she says is, you and the Ohrangers are doing everything. Like, you guys are out there and you're fighting and you're like risking your lives, and I'm just kind of here. And I just, like, I feel bad. Like, I feel useless. Like, you guys are doing everything. Like, we're all being threatened. Like, I want to do something. I want to help.
Right, like,
also,
I
Doran,
want to fight.
These are, like, giant murder robots, and you are a 9-year-old girl.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's a 9-year-old girl with, like, special ancient power.
Oh, yeah, like, she does have, like, crazy... Yeah, but her magic powers are, like, talking to animals and flowers or something. She doesn't have, like, energy blasts.
Which are very good powers.
Oh, yeah, like, listen.
They're just not fight powers.
Right. May we all live a life where talking to animals is a more useful power than energy blasts.
Right.
That would be great.
And actually, that is kind of the point of this episode, right? Because she wants to fight. And Ricky's
that was a really good lead-in. I didn't even mean to do that.
And Ricky's like, "No, you should never fight. Like, that's what I'm here for. Like, I am here to do the fighting so that you don't have to be, like, tainted with, like, a life of violence."
Yeah, and not only should you not fight, like, it's vitally important to me and the Ohrangers that you not fight.
Right, like, your ability to maintain a life of peace is the thing that we are fighting for. Like, you specifically, and then, like, the world sort of in general, but you are you are emblematic
of avatar,
that. Yeah.
And, like, that, it kind of gives us motivation to like really kind of do everything we can. We go from there. It's a very good, like they're really maintaining the tension on this episode fantastically. We go from there back to the Rangers. So they do have Goro now. And there's some smack talk on both sides, right? The Kaiser Bulldog is like, we've got you, and now you're going to be executed. And the Rangers are like, maybe, but get bent still.
Yeah, they're defiant, but it is
moment.
Not going well for them.
Yeah, Goro does have a great moment where he sort of like, he straightens up a little bit, and he looks at, not the team, but he looks at Kaiser Bulldog, and he's like, stay strong until the end. And they're like, yes, sir. And they all kind of like straighten up and look at Kaiser Bulldog. And there's Bara soldiers lining up with like guns, and they're all going to get executed.
Also, the Bara soldiers are not holding like space guns. They're just holding machine guns.
Yeah. It would have been better if they had gotten like energy blaster props. So we go back from there to Ricky and Doran. At this point, Doran is like actively fighting. Like Ricky is having to physically hold her back from opening up this forbidden door. And he's successful. He's much larger than she is. He's pretty successful. But once he gets on the stairs, she manages to kind of twist free, and she runs over and she activates the door, which is like you put your hand in its mouth and then it kind of bites down, and she screams, and then the door opens.
Yeah, and as the door opens, it like sucks both of them into the room.
Oh, and then it slams shut behind them. So like now they're definitely in there, and they got to deal with whatever it is. And what it is there is like a sword, like a cool looking sword. It's super cool looking. They really do. Somebody was very proud of making this, appropriately so. Mm-hmm. And so they like zoom in and they give you a real slow pan shot over this thing. So it's a sword. It's like a European style double-edged sword, and the hilt of it is two faces facing the opposite direction, but like one is smiling and one is frowning, I think, but not in like a drama mask sort of way.
Yeah, I don't think it's the hilt. It is like the bottom of the blade as the blade hits the crossguard.
Oh, yes. Thank you. I'm just mixing up my sword terminology. What kind of nerd am I, right? So, and then the faces kind of extend down, as you say, into the crossguard. Like, this thing looks super rad.
And so this thing is like the sword that contains the forbidden power, rather, not the hidden power. It was not very well hidden at all.
So it is, and now at this point, they're both trying to get it. I think Doran is trying to get it because she wants to like activate this forbidden power. And Ricky, as much as he kind of knows that it's a terrible idea, is trying to get it so that Doran can't get it.
Yes.
Like he's literally trying to fall on this sword for Doran.
He kind of manages to get it from her, but in so doing, it like dips into like this water feature that was built into the pedestal that it was the sword was sitting on, and the sword then like activates. It starts shooting lightning everywhere, and like a blue energy like visage of the demon snake face from the that was on the forbidden door like is hovering over them, and it is a wild scene. Yeah.
So we go from there back to the Bara soldiers, and the Bara soldiers, like they're lining up to execute. And I actually read my notes wrong. This is where they stay strong until the end. And then there's a bunch of kind of tension establishing shots where they're like flashing back and forth between the soldiers who are slowly advancing. I don't know why they're advancing. They have guns. They were only like 15 feet away at the start, but maybe they just really want to get in there.
The Bara soldiers are terrible shots. They need to be very close.
And then a holographic demon snake head, just kind of descends out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And hits, it just kind of like descends into them, and that is enough to stop the execution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then Doran and Ricky land, and the sword lands next to them. Doran tries to go for it, but Ricky grabs it and is like, no, like, I will do this thing. The life of violence is not for you. He picks up the sword and he activates the forbidden power.
Yeah, and turns out they were not kidding around when they decided that this power should be forbidden. Here's what happens. First of all, Ricky becomes like a pale white demon boy. Mm-hmm. And then he just starts laying people out.
Yeah, the sword is like crackling with electricity. So every time he swings it, it's like throwing this wild lightning around everywhere. And he is just like waving it everywhere. It does cut the chain, so now the Ohrangers are free. And he is by himself holding off Empress Maltuwa, Kaiser Buldont, and all of the Bara soldiers, and Bara Hunter, who was also there.
Yeah, so this forbidden power is... Like, they're not... Like, it definitely is powerful, but he is also very clearly not in control at all.
So Chief shows up as everyone is sort of scrambling to get away from Ricky, and Chief is like, oh my gosh, the legends are true, the forbidden power. And he explains that what the forbidden power is like it makes you like an unbeatable fighter, but you will never stop fighting. Like, once you activate that sword and start swinging it, you will just continue to fight until you wear yourself out and die.
Yeah. So he says, like, we have to get in there. Like, we've got to stop it. So he's got a briefcase with him. He opens it up. Boom! New chargers. I was hoping that these new, like, we would get a brief, like, I've improved your chargers to channel more Chouriki energy. And we would get, like, a Turbo Ranger situation. Not the actual Turbo Rangers with cars, but, like Hyper Mega. Those are all
adjectives
Mega
that
Ranger,
have been
used for Rangers. Yeah. Like, more powerful O-Rangers.
Yes.
We don't. He's just repaired the ones they already had. But so they all henshin and they jump in and try and stop the fight. It's not going very well. As we mentioned, Ricky is very, very powerful now.
Yeah, like Ricky started off pretty strong, and this has just really put him over the top.
Yeah, like they're just not having a whole lot of luck with his like mega lightning. So the chief turns to Doran and he says, listen, you need to go pray. Just kind of in general is the idea. Because she doesn't like address anyone.
Just sort of just kind of to like, I don't know, the heart of Chouriki energy within the earth.
Prayer to the universe, I guess. And so she kind of like ducks off to the side.
Well, the chief does say that like the prayers of the one, the prayers of the one person on Earth who is like totally removed from violence, like can accomplish anything, or it's something like that.
But it's keyed into the idea is keyed in that she has some sort of special status. She is like the most non-violent person, I guess.
Yeah, so like her power comes from her like commitment to peace.
Yeah. So she ducks off to the side and she kneels down in front of this like small pool of water and she says, please let everything like be cool and peaceful. Like 600 million years ago, everybody lived in peace. Except our robot slaves, who rebelled and have returned to kill us all.
Right, like 600 million years ago, exactly. 600 million years ago in like 2 years, it was a mess on Earth.
It was so bad. So she's like, please let everything go back to the way it was. So she like cries a little bit and like a little sparkle tear, like an animated sparkle tear pops out of her eye, which is not how tears work. And falls into the puddle in front of her, and like a flower appears up out of it.
Yeah, and this seems to like activate like the peace energy around here or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it like activates the bond between Ricky and Doran or something.
So we cut over to Ricky, who is like still fighting, but then as the flower blooms, he sort of has this like loud shout. His face goes back to normal. He throws the sword up into the air and it sort of becomes blue energy and disappears. And Ricky just passes out.
Yeah. They all rush over to Ricky. like to make sure he's okay, and he is like he's basically fine.
Yeah, he gets back up and like they all he henshins as well, and now it's like a full fight with like the team and King Ranger, and it is super good because like. Man, we don't get to see Ricky in action enough. It's one thing that kind of bugs me about this season because every time he fights, it's great.
Yeah, Ricky is a boss, man.
Yeah,
and then he gets in a real good line. He yells to Doran, "I fight to protect you until the day all fighting ends," and that's a boss thing to say.
Hell yeah, man.
So, and then like we've got a big fight, and he does. I got the vague feeling that he's still sort of like working out the last of that like supercharge energy. That's just my impression. But they do a fight. It's actually over fairly quickly. He unleashes King Victory Smash and Flash or Smash.
It's Flash.
Sorry. Well, he does have a King Victory Smash. I'm not crazy, right?
Man, he might. He's got a lot of King stuff.
So, they do that fight, and then like the Empress Multiwa and Kaiser Buldan have kind of removed themselves from this. So like maybe we'll dip, like we'll live to fight another day. Before we go, Acha and Kocha, please make that robot very, very large. And they do that. And then there's like a fairly straightforward giant fight.
Yeah, it is cool because we get to see more of Bara Hunter. Bara Hunter not only has little like wrist knives, he also has little knives that come out of his feet, and so he's doing like spin kicks with blade feet, and that's very cool.
Yeah, man, I mentioned it earlier, I'm real bummed that Bara Hunter is only in this episode. I would definitely watch more with this guy.
Yeah, but sadly we can't because they all get together and do the Super Legend Beam, and that is it for Bara Hunter.
Yeah, that dude's very dead.
Is there anything else you want to talk about in that fight? Like they summon some swords and then it's over.
No, yeah, they summon swords. He's very, very dead.
Bara Hunter had like a cool grappling hook attack, and that was neat.
He did. It didn't do anything really, but it was cool. So then everything is peaceful. Like it's like, for the moment at least. Doran and Ricky are at some sort of like water, like man-made pond water thing.
Yeah, they're frolicking. They sit by
they're frolicking.
They sit by the side of the water, also. And they each hold up their index finger and look at each other and smile, and then they touch each other's fingers together, and there's a spark of light, and then a bunch of flowers like grow in this pond, like some like lily pad style flowers.
Yeah.
And all the Ohrangers are just like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And then Ricky and Doran sort of like look at each other, hop up, hold hands, and run away laughing. Because, hey, in case you forgot, they're both very young children.
Yes, they have had a rough day.
Which, like, obviously, yes, like, I can see physically that they are children. Like, Ricky's like a teenager. But, like, yeah, obviously you can see that. But the show doesn't really treat them as children.
Yeah, not often.
In like a serious way. They don't really treat them as children. Like, Ricky's the King Ranger. Like, not only is he not only is he a ranger, he's like definitely the best one.
Yeah.
And Doran is an innocent, but they don't often, like I know we mentioned it earlier, that like the chief is comforting her, but they don't like actively reference the fact that she's a child. And it was just like in this moment, I was sort of reminded like, oh yeah, they're children who are 600 million years old and spent 600 million years in like weird hyperstasis after their entire civilization was destroyed, and now they're back to finish the job. Welcome to that fight, kids.
Yeah, and the Ohrangers look at them, and I think they are also struck by the same thing that you were, that like these are like young innocents. And they're like, oh, right, we absolutely need to, like, wrap this thing up, like, for the sake of peace and, like, for these kids particularly, but also for everyone. Like, we need to make this thing happen.
But that, I think, is it at the end of this very, very good episode.
Yeah, but David, it's not the end of our episode, because first we need to determine where Bara Hunter falls in the Creature Royale.
Oh, man, okay. I am kind of torn about this because I really like basically everything about Bara Hunter.
Yeah. So
Like,
the pros of Barrack Hunter is like he looks very cool. All of his like gimmicks are very cool. He's very effective in this episode. He's he's sort of like spooky when he's hunting people, and he's neat looking when he's fighting. Like all of the aesthetics of Barrack Hunter are very good. The thing that counts against him, as often does in this sort of situation, is that
he's just kind of there. He has like one line, I think.
Yeah, I think his only line is like, "Hey, don't scream."
Yeah, which as a line for a monster goes is a good one, but
it does hurt him in the rankings.
Yeah.
So he's I don't think he's gonna make like top 20. Where do you think is a good place to start looking at this guy?
Well, okay, Matt, I'm kind of torn on this because where I kind of want to start is Bara Boxer. He's another monster who I feel like is in the same boat. Like he's got a very cool look. He's got kind of a neat combat hook that he's like a giant robot boxer. They do put very, very large spikes on his fist, and I like that a lot.
Well, sure.
Yeah,
anytime
but Boxer is...
Anytime you put spikes on a boxer's stuff, like, that's always good. Like in... which kickboxer movie is that in? Where they put, like, the glass in there? You know?
Is that
the first kickboxer?
Bloodsport. No, that's Bloodsport, I think.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Man.
I could be wrong about that. Anyways, but Bara Boxer is at spot 109, which seems crazy low. But, like, as I'm scrolling up, these monsters are very, very good. Like, okay, so Kame-Itachi the Sickle Weasel is slot, and he's a great monster. And that dude's slot number 51 on this list, because this list is full of very, very good monsters.
It's a top-heavy list.
It is a top-heavy list, and even as I'm scrolling down, like, dude, Tofu Hermit. Tofu Hermit, like the drunk tofu seller that, the Yellow Die Ranger.
Kazu.
Kazu. Like the drunk tofu monster that Kazu had to fight because he loves tofu so much. That dude's slot number 92. Diamond Dimension, where like Akko flipped out and then Kaori had to buy all the jewels and gold in the entire city. That guy's 94. So is Bara Hunter better than that? I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, that's tough. Okay.
So if we start at 109, which is where Bara Boxer is,
right?
Like just above him, we've got Azuki Arai, and then Bara Police, and then we're up into like Vacuum Dimension Tengu, and then we're up into Faucet Dimension Semimaru.
Okay.
And Mujin the Manga Artist. For me at least, I would say Mujin the Manga Artist is my ceiling on Bara Hunter.
Listen, anybody that can send you to another dimension automatically gets a leg up. Also, it was Kickboxer, I just checked.
Oh, it was Kickboxer. Okay, thank you very much. Good to know. So, I think Mujin the Manga Artist is my cap on that. I'm kind of looking around. I think I like Bara Hunter more than I like him more than I like Leech Drill.
Yeah, but Leech Drill gets real small.
Yeah, but there are other monsters that also get real small.
Yeah, but with the other monsters, do they have to fight them inside the chief in like an Incredible Journey, Osmosis Jones sort of deal?
That is a very, very good point. Man, that's a tough one. Bara Hunter is like an Evangelion Predator Cyber Ninja, though.
That's true. That's really true, and that's a great point.
Yeah, that's a really strong argument in his favor. I might go below Leech Drill, but I definitely like him better than Tengu. Okay. There is Amano Jaku, the perverting monster from Conquer Ranger. And I think I like him better than him, too.
Okay, so do we want to go just below Leech Drill? Which feels low. I feel like we're going to look at this later and wonder why we put him so low. But
well, okay. Like, kind of above that is Majin Robo Veronica. Mm-hmm. Actually, and then below that is Semimaru. I would go higher than that.
You want to go above Majin Robo Veronica?
Maybe not above Majin Robo Veronica. but above Semimaru, I think.
Okay, well, let's do that. Let's put him in our new number 100, right between Semimaru and the Imagine Robo Veronica. Two very good things from Jetman that were sort of in a similar sense, like looked cool, were part of a great episode, but were not themselves like super important characters.
Yeah, I just wrote down the phrase "Barra Robo." Okay, well, Matt, that is going to do it for us.
Yes, that is going to do it for another episode of For Your Eyes, Ohranger. Before we finish up here, I'd like to remind you all you can email the show at supersentaibrothers@gmail.com. If you want to get any updates on future episodes or check out the things that we're talking about on Twitter, we are at Super Sentai Bros. If you like the show, and I hope that you do, please remember that shining in the iTunes review section, there are 5 stars. Please rate, review, subscribe on iTunes or Apple Podcasts or wherever it is that you find the show. That points more people towards us, which is great. If you would like to listen to any of the other great Retrograde Orbit Radio podcasts, you can find them all at retrogradeorbitradio.com. Once again, we are the Super Sentai Brothers. I'm Matt.
I'm Dave.
And we'll see you next week for the greatest show on Earth.